hey man, what's up? Hey, what's up, Chuckles? Oh, I'm just, you know, brainstorming. I haven't made one of these videos in, well, quite a while, so I'm thinking of what should I do to make my, big entrance, so to speak. Something to make memorable, you know. Yeah, I see. Yeah, I remember those. They were kind of fucking cringe, to be honest, remember? I mean, maybe, they weren't that bad. Nah, they were pretty fucking cringe. And kinda, subpar. Okay. I guess they were a little bit cringe. Right. So, baby, do you have any ideas what should I do? Why you ask me? I don't know. Do something that's very memorable and, very famous. Something back from the good old days, I suppose. Whatever. Something memorable. Something famous. Huh. Wait. I got it. Hey, what's up, ladies and gents and ladies and gents of all the ages and all the genders. How you guys doing these past few? Actually, how many years has it been since my last cooking video post? It hasn't been that long, right? Let me just check it out. Okay, so it's been a little while. But yeah, hey, sooner than later than never, right? As they say. Yeah, guys, welcome back to a new video of Cooking with Rick. With me, your lovely host, me, CommandoRick. I hope you guys are having nice Christmas and Happy New Year's as well. Hopefully I release this video by the time the New Year even starts. That would be actually really nice to start off a new year. But, who cares? Details. Today I'm gonna give you a new recipe that I've been kinda scrounging up, looking for. I tried to maybe think of something more thematic, something around like Christmas Eve recipes or something like that. But I thought, nah, fuck that. Who needs that? I'll just choose some random recipe, choose the cheapest, as I say, ingredients. Of course, it cost me like 30 euros. Oof, not so cheap anyways. No, at least for me. I don't know how Americans are. They probably are kind of fucked. But yes, today I'm gonna cook you up something really nice. Whole grain pasta with seafood, as the title implies. And of course, after we make delicious food, we're gonna eat some and then we're gonna talk about another team. The newest CDPR video, Witcher 4, and how that's been dealing with. No reaction videos, unfortunately. I'm kinda, done with that. It's, that part of my life is sailed away. Just out of my life. Gone. Yeah. Anyways, without any further ado, let's get into the ingredients and let me show you what we are gonna be cooking with. I already have all the ingredients prepared and I'm just gonna list you off for you as well. All with the measurements as well, since I didn't really do that in the past because I mostly just cooked with my eyes on, but I'm gonna do a little bit more professional style this time. I'm gonna put the ingredients with the measurements as well. So, but if you're feeling like you're not gonna share with anybody, then just cook how much you want. So the first ingredient, of course, is gonna be the base food. It is gonna be whole grain pasta. You can use normal pasta as well, it doesn't really matter. About 400 grams. By the way, for my Western audience, Americans in the UK, if you don't know what grams or, kilograms mean, but still use those things like feet and stones and tongues or whatever the fuck, well, get good, son. Just use metric system. I'm afraid it's not gonna cut it. But yes, let's get back into it. Whole grain pasta, spaghetti of course, 400 grams. Some seafood, 200 grams. But if you don't want to really use much of a seafood, like say calamaris and mussels and things like that, you can also use fish. I suppose you could use Atlantic cod. That's a good, fish. as far as I'm concerned, for spaghetti. 200 grams of shrimp, any kind of shrimp, but I mostly use those little tiny shrimps. Some cherry tomatoes, 100 grams. White beans, 100 grams. And that's gonna be the base food. For now, let's go to the sauce. The sauce is gonna be quite different and a bit complicated from what I usually cook. Mostly I just throw shit into the pot and, you know, stir it up like a witch in a cauldron, but hey, I wanna, you know, mix it up a little bit. So, first off, fennel, 50 grams. Garlic, 2 cloves. Onion, at least one whole big ass onion or medium sized onion is gonna be good. Tomatoes in their own juice, about 500 grams I would say, is more than enough. You'll need some olive oil, or you know, if you're cheap you can use also cooking oil, who cares about that. Some peppermint, oh yes, we're gonna get a little bit, how would you say, sweet and sour with this one, but yes, you'll need some peppermint, about, I would say, how do you say that word in Americans? Just a bundle, a small little bundle, not too much and not too small. We'll also need some orange, 1 piece of orange, that's all. Some salt and sugar for taste. And of course some cheese, but you can add that at the end, just grate it over. What kind of? Doesn't matter, it's up to you. So anyways, for now, let's prepare some ingredients and get cooking. Alright, so I have most of my ingredients already prepped, nice and lovely. I have them weighted, I have them washed, I have some of them pre-cut. All that's left is slice, dice and saute. And that's pretty much it. Oh, by the way guys, you haven't seen my new kitchen. No more Rick is living inside a ghetto ass kitchen. Oh no no no. We are living chic. We are living bougie. We are bourgeois. Anyways, yeah, this is pretty much my new kitchen. I got myself a lovely new counter. I got myself a new lovely sink that doesn't splash around and, you know, leave almost impossibly to clean out stains. I also have my little cooking corner right here, so all the fumes go outside in the ventilation instead up in the fucking ceiling and makes all the stains. I have myself some new grills, some new electric grill, a small oven. I even got myself a air fryer. How about you, boy? You got yourself an air fryer? Probably not. But yes, that's pretty much all for the ingredients. Let's start chopping. Okay then, first things first is the sauce. The sauce is the base and we gonna have to prepare it. So, we're gonna start up by chopping up some greens. First up, let's see, let me see. We're gonna chop up some onions, some garlic, and 50 grams of fennel. up, we're gonna add some tomato sauce. Well, blended tomatoes in their own juices. I already blended it up nice and easy. All we have to do is add some orange juice from one orange and a little bit of orange peels as well. Just shape them off here and there, and it's gonna be more than enough. I don't have our orange juicer, so I'll have to use my hands, like a Paddington Bear episode. Now we're just gonna saute them about 30 minutes or so. So I'll see you guys in 30 minutes, I guess. Okay guys, by the time we are about 10 or 11 minutes out. So right now we can prepare the finishing touches. We're gonna boil up some pasta real fast, and we're also gonna let me get the huge ass plate. Prepare some shrimp and cherry tomatoes. But you might say, Rick, those aren't cherry tomatoes, those are plum tomatoes. And today I say, tomato, who cares? It's the same thing. So we're gonna fry up these ones in the oven and grill them for about 2 or 3 minutes. And then we're gonna serve them at the end with the pasta. But for now, we have about 10 more minutes until the sauce is completely sauteed and done. Now we just need to grill these shrimps and tomatoes and cook the pasta. So I'll see you in a bit. So, as you can see, our sauce is almost done. At first, when you're gonna boil it, or not boil it to say, but when you're gonna saute it, it's gonna have that liquid consistency. But after 30 minutes, it's gonna turn into a nice, almost paste-like consistency. So that's exactly what you're looking for. So now that it's pretty much, I would say, nicely done, we're gonna add salt, sugar, and peppermint. Saute it just a bit more, so all the sugar and the salt dissolves inside of it quite nicely. Be careful not to add too much heat on your stove, because the tomato paste has the tendency of just flying up, and all the heat can, hit your arms, and that is no bueno, no good. So, our pasta is boiling nice and lovely as well. You may add a little bit of oil into the pasta as well, just a bit, so it doesn't stick together. Let's have a little bit of taste. Very nice indeed. That is a lovely taste. Very interesting. All kinds of tastes blending together. The tomato, the peppermint, the orange juice, the salt, the sugar. It's really nice blending together. I think this sauce is gonna turn out quite well. So we have a few minutes left until our grilled seafood and cherry tomatoes are left done, and of course our pasta. So just a bit more. Alright, let's check if our pasta is done or not. Now this is whole grain pasta, so usually when you would check out if your pasta is done, you would do this and it would stick to the wall. Unfortunately, this is whole grain pasta, so it's more rubbery. Taste-wise, it's good, so we can have it now. Pasta goes inside. Add the beans, 100 grams or 150, doesn't matter how much you want. In you go. Stir it up. Let's not forget our seafood as well. Mix it up. All the shrimp, all the pasta, and all the sauce. Nice and together. Now remember, if you cook too much pasta and are worried that you don't have enough sauce, you might as well just add a bit more of crushed tomatoes in their own juices, add them, or maybe some tomato ketchup, pasta, whatever. Just add a bit more consistency for that sauce. Or, you know, just use almost like a half a pack of pasta. You don't have to go crazy overboard. It's not like you're feeding a whole army. No, neither am I, but, you know, I'm a big dude. I like to eat. Alright, let's turn this bad boy off. And yeah, looks like it's pretty much done. Let's plate up this bad boy. But first, a little bit of preview. Oh yeah, looks nice. Here we go, final product. Seafood pasta with a bit of cheese on top, and it's looking delicious. Is it good? It's good. Visually, of course, but now let's try out the taste test. Perfect. Beautiful. I can already taste the orange the peppermint, and all the other spices and greens the moment it hits me. It's not too overpowering, but it's also not too undertoned. It's just enough. So yeah, that was it, guys. That was seafood pasta. Hope you guys enjoy it. Now let's move on to the next thing. Okay guys, welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed that cooking video. It has been a long time since I made one, so excuse me if it's not up to 2020. Oh, it's 25 already. Oof, time flies by sure. 25 standards of the videos, but I do most with what I have, so it's whatever. I suppose it's what's in the heart that counts, right? As they say, or maybe not. I'm not sure. Who knows, maybe I'll get some better equipment with better HD quality one of these days. Maybe I'm gonna be like one of those awesome cooking video channels out there up par with, you know, such famous people like, I don't know, How to Basic, without the feed stuff. But yes, anyways, so today we're gonna jump in with discussion with Witcher 4. It has been quite a wild ride for these past few weeks or so, because as you guys know, not only is my cooking is my passion, but also video games. I love making video game gameplays, and I would like to also start maybe, you know, discussing a little bit about them, to throw in my useless 2 cents in the discussion, so to speak. And I thought might as well start with Witcher 4. I enjoyed the first 3 Witcher games. I enjoyed Cyberpunk to some extent as well, not as much as I would like to enjoy it when it released, because that was a shit show basically, but at least they had the decency to fix it up and not throw it away halfway, like let's say Andromeda. So yeah, or even Veilguard. I mean, they pretty much said they won't make any more DLCs or content for that game anymore, so oof. So we'll see. But yes, there has been a lot of heated discussions between one side and the other, saying, you know, I look forward to Witcher 4, or this game is gonna turn into woke trash. Personally, I have no idea, but yeah, let's see the trailer first. I checked it out already on the first day that we dropped, but I want to do a little bit more in-depth analysis this time, so let's try it out.
Dearest daughter.
Already a little pause here. Cinematic trailer pre-rendered in Unreal 5. So I know that CDPR has pretty much abandoned their Red engine, which is, I suppose, good news, because they themselves said that it's almost impossible to work with when they made Cyberpunk game. But I also heard there were some problems with Unreal Engine 5 as well, and an announced NVIDIA GeForce RTX GPU. Oh boy, man, I already upgraded my graphics card, so I hope this game will at least run somewhat decently, but we'll see. So it's good that they moved on to a new engine, but I hope they know what they're doing with this one as well, but we'll see.
Dearest daughter, I've watched ye grow from a devilishly curious child
Here's Siri
into a remarkable young lass with much grace, wisdom, and kindness. Take the easy times what shape us, nay. 'Tis how we rise to face the hard time.
There's her swords swallow, if you remember in Witcher 3, if you follow the Witcher ending, where you pretty much lie to Emir that Ciri died during the White Frost, you made her like this sword for her to begin on her Witcher path, so it's nice to see that coming back.
What does that for us? Even heart of gold. You've the spirit to overcome adversities aplenty. Darling. Sweeten. Today's the day. Ye fill out your destiny.
I like these little two different scenes. One is a hunter preparing for her hunt, and the other is a sacrifice, preparing to, sacrifice her for the greater good, or so to speak. The design around the village looks very Slavic inspired. They themselves in the interview, I believe in one of the outlets, said that this place is located somewhere in the far north, in one of the northern kingdoms. So I would guess either Redania or maybe Kovis, or was it Povis? I forgot. Or was it Pavis? Man, those kingdom names are kind of a little bit confusing. But one of the northern kingdoms, so it's gonna be interesting to see. What was it? Fuck, already forgot. What was the King Foltest's? Temeria, right. Temeria was a little bit less Slavic inspired, but more like English medieval, maybe, like sort of kingdom. Redania is more like the Slavic side, maybe a bit of Polish style inspired, and of course Nilfgaard is somewhere like a Gothic and Germanic inspired. And of course you have like other places as well, like Skellige Islands inspired basically by like Nordic Vikings and things like that. So this is interesting to see as well.
Forgive me, daughter. 'Twere my only choice.
I shall be the bringer of salvation.
A witcher? Witcher! Whose coin did ye take?
I recognize that voice. That's the one of the NPCs, I believe, or like a default NPC voice that we heard in Witcher 3 as well. I can definitely recognize that. And that scowl against the Witchers, like that, ooh, why is the Witcher here? Get that filthy mutant out of here.
Nay, you can't. 'Tis tradition. Chosen she is, by the gods.
No!
And there it is. Ciri revealed as the next Witcher protagonist. And this is where people got really upset and called her like ugly and, woke and things like that. But when I first saw her, I thought, oh, that's a cool armor design. And, she looks a little bit older, somewhere around her like 30s or something. Late 30s or maybe early 30s, somewhere in between. And I thought she looked fine. There's literally nothing bad about it. I think people got way too picky about like character designs ever since like the last few like AAA games came out, like Forspoken, Veilguard, and other games as well, and the character design for them was like not that great. So they think the moment they see a little bit of deviation from that like huge ass beauty standard, they think they have the how would you say, the right, I suppose, or the privilege to like just immediately say, oh, she's ugly, this is gonna be woke. But so far I don't see anything about it. But we'll see how the actual in-game model. Remember, this is cinematic. This is not in-game model. So yeah, we'll wait and see.
You chose her.
You can see the Witcher eyes already. So she's gone through the mutations. Really awesome like design on the dress as well, Slavic inspired. Reminds me of a bit of my culture's like traditional dress designs as well, especially with the stripes and the designs on the wrists as well. We have something similar as well with many sort of designs. Most of the symbols that we use pretty much either depicts like the symbols of our ancient gods, or just aesthetic designs and things like that.
Back to the village. Go, now.
Nay! I must save them! Save the village!
Save yourself!
Yeah, maybe like this frame right here that's made her face a little bit more bloated. I suppose that's where mostly people were complaining, but still, it doesn't look that bad. So again, I'm waiting for the actual in-game model to come out before I start to like really harshly judging the game itself.
Run! To shelter! To your father!
I do like the armor design as well, with the new Link's medallion. Although I'm not sure why she didn't use like the Witcher medallion. Maybe she joined like the new Witcher school or something and just, you know, thought, yeah, have to use Link's medallion. But, you know, we'll see how it goes.
Run!
Different voice actors as well. People were kind of upset about it, but I'm like, I mean, voice actors change from time to time. You can't really do anything about it. There were maybe different circumstances, but perhaps. There's the new monster. Ooh, rookie mistake, Siri. You know that when preparing the Witcher potions you have to drink them before. You know, that's very disappointed. I'm not sure what that potion is. Maybe it's like a cat potion to like, you know, see better in the fog. So I'm guessing that's that. There's a new monster as well. I forgot what the name was. Was it Brook or Bruch or something like that? I thought they almost brought in the same monster that we saw in like Witcher Netflix series, that really awful looking CGI mutant thing, but fortunately that's not the case. I already trying to forget out of my mind that awful series, because that was just oof. Henry Cavill definitely deserved better than this. Using signs, very nice.
Fate cannot be changed.
That's a creepy design, but awesome.
You cannot change.
And here she is channeling the source, like her magic, because we know not only Ciri is right now a witcher, but she's also a sorceress as well. So I'm kind of curious how they're gonna like introduce like a witcher skill set, and her sorceress powers, because we already seen she can use signs as well, but she can also use magic as well. So it's gonna be interesting, like seeing the parallel. Using the chain, very nice throwback reference to Witcher 1, when Geralt was fighting against that, what was it? Was it Striga? The cursed Temerian princess. If you remember that cinematic. If you don't, I might as well suggest you guys check it out as well. Using magic with a chain, very nice. Yeah, pretty awesome fight. Gritty, it wasn't easy for her. I noticed she didn't use her like elder powers, like zip zapping around with her teleportation. I always kind of was thinking that perhaps she lost her like elder blood powers after the White Frost was pretty much defeated, because with all the prophecies and your special powers that are intertwined, it's like when the prophecy is fulfilled and the big bad Frost is defeated, there's really no need for the elder powers. So maybe it's kind of like a sacrifice between. She sacrificed her elder blood powers of teleportation, all that shabam, to defeat the White Frost, and that's why we didn't really see much of her using those powers, especially in Witcher 3, at the Empress ending, when Geralt and her were fighting that cockatrice, or what was it, in the near the White Orchard. She wasn't teleporting around, dodging the beast as well, so maybe that's something to consider. Because I know people were like really upset about like, how can she be a witcher and be so overpowered? That's so bad. But I thought, I mean, it's kind of a classic thing to like nerf like OP characters. Like for instance in KCD 2, we know Henry is gonna get nerfed as well to like balance the leveling and stuff like that to make it more sense. So maybe they did something here as well, but I'm not sure. Again, we'll have to wait and see to actually before we can actually speculate and say that the game's gonna turn out trash or whatever. Ah yes, and the dark truth of
He went to go to the woods.
all the villages.
Chosen one. His tradition.
Oh no, no, no.
Paranoia, tradition, and all that things. It's like the dark truth of the Witcher universe. Not everything goes how you planned. There are no happy endings. At least there are some, but it's more of a gray area. They did say this is gonna be in game as well, like the cinematic. It's gonna be like a quest, and you can actually save her so she doesn't get killed by the villagers. So it's gonna be interesting to see like how you approach the choices here as well. Like perhaps you speak to the villagers and say, okay, listen, hold off with the sacrifice, I'm gonna go in and investigate, and then you can decide later. But they said here she used her like the daughter as like a bait to bait out the monster, and that's why the choices here are different. So it's gonna be interesting to see how actually your choices differ and kind of matter, because in Witcher 3 there were many choices, sure, but there wasn't very much like how would you say, variety on how to approach a quest from like different kinds of angles. So more choices in a quest, that's great. That's all I'm here for.
It's all we wanted. For to go to the woods. To go to the gods.
Gods? There are no gods here. There are only monsters.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice trailer so far. I don't really get the fuss of like hatred and like the heated discussions, because sure, CDPR had like some questionable decisions nowadays with like their hiring practices and like the whole ESG stuff and DEI stuff as well, but for the past few games they haven't really mucked up so bad. I mean, maybe Cyberpunk because the launch was kind of terrible, but once they actually fixed up the stuff, it turned out pretty well. Because I think the biggest issue with Cyberpunk was that it was the failure of like the upper management. They wanted to really push out the game as fast as they could, even though the developers said we need more time, we need to fix more bugs, we need to improve all the technicalities, we need to add like this and that promised like features that we promised, and alas, it was taken the decision was taken out of their hands, and they pushed out this broken product because the publishers and like the investors really wanted to like push it out as fast as they can. And you see what happens when you don't listen to developers. I mean, that's pretty much it. The developers themselves did a pretty well job, as far as I can tell, with the Cyberpunk game. It turned out well, story-wise and all that. Same with Witcher 3 as well. Everybody's forgetting that Witcher 3 as well had like a really buggy and kind of messed up launch as well. But still, they fixed the game. They made all sorts of DLCs. They made free content as well for it for years to come. And they, last year, I believe, they even made like few free DLCs and quests like that. So I don't really see the problem. As long as they keep up this streak of like making decent games, that I'm sure they'll do fine. But again, I'm not gonna take the word of CDPR's PR team saying, oh yeah, we want to do this and stay true and blah blah blah, until I see actual definitive proof on my hands, when I see it with my ear, when I hear it with my ears and see it with my eyes firsthand, and judge the game. Is it gonna be good or bad? Then, you know, that's that. If it's gonna be good, then it's gonna be good. If not, then not. It's simple as that. But yeah, the trailer so far has been great, interesting. Seriously looked fine. I don't know what people were talking about. And yeah. Okay, so I made a couple of lists here and there's, checking out the issues that been so far with Witcher after the trailer. And let's address them bit by bit. So first of all, people mentioned the books. The books is the big issue, that the CDPR has deviated from the book lore. But I found it kind of weird, because isn't the game not part of the canon's book canon from the get-go? Like, ever since they made Witcher game, the first one, they pretty much said that it's not non-canon from the, it's completely different from the book lore, because as we know in the books, Geralt dies at the end, so him coming back to life in Witcher 1 doesn't really make sense, and it's not part of the lore. So how is right now deviating from the book lore kind of a big deal? Mostly it's because they mention that Ciri cannot become a Witcher because she's a female, and females cannot become Witchers. Yet in the books themselves, it's explicitly never said that females cannot become Witchers. Even the author himself, Sapkowski, I remember there was an interview or one of the fan meetups or whatever, and one of the people asked, can women become female Witchers? And he said he does not know that because he never wrote about it. So yeah, there's that. So it's kind of interesting point there. They also said that they are disrespecting the book author because they did not consult to him, and yet they never consulted Sapkowski after he sold them the licensing rights for the games. Ever since the first game came out, he never wanted to really be involved with the video games or CDPR ever since then. He only kind of got involved with the game itself when The Witcher 3 was a huge marketing success and raked in quite a lot of money for the company. Only then he wanted kind of a piece of pie, but he refused the royalties, as I remind you, and there was a whole shtick with the trials and trying to sue CDPR, but they settled that out of court, but that's beside the points. But yeah, Sapkowski never liked the games. He doesn't like the games in general. He said that multiple times. He pretty much was outspoken against the company itself and the video games, saying that there's no real artistic value or something like along those lines. So I don't really understand why CDPR would even bother to like consult him on anything Witcher 4 related, because Witcher games are their own universe. So it's well within the rights of CDPR to make any kinds of lore changes as they want. As long as it's like, you know, makes sense and is not nonsensical, is actually good writing, then it's totally fine. But if they just, you know, pull the usual, oh, series become Witcher and there's no explanation, just out of their asses, then yeah, that is a problem. But if they can make it work, then sure, they can make it work. So that's the books. Next up, Witchy is a Witcher. She cannot become a Witcher because of the Elder Blood, and she's already overpowered and things like that. Well, the new school, the Witcher School of the Lynx, I had a little theory that perhaps it's a new school that devised some kind of a new scientific way, perhaps to make the trial of the grasses much more safer, because as we know, trial of the grasses was kind of an archaic science. It was very old and nobody really bothered to like improve upon it, and it's because most of the Witcher schools pretty much now are dead and gone. So yeah, maybe this new school improved the sciences, researched it more, and made it much more safer for adults and both females and males to undergo the trial of the grasses and, you know, the Witcher mutations, and make them safer and, you know, become Witchers. So perhaps that's the deal, but we won't actually know until we actually see the how the story goes on. So we have to wait and see before calling any kind of BS or whatever. Also, perhaps they're gonna make a reference to the second and third games, because there were like two scientists. First, in Witcher 2, there around Flotsam, I believe, there were two scientists who wanted to like make some kind of a Witcher experiments and asked Geralt to drink the potion, and, you know, asked about the after effects of a few years. That was a whole little side quest. And then there was the scientist in what's the zone, in the Blood and Wine. There was a mage or some kind of scientist who was researching witchers and how to reverse cure, but instead he made the witchers mutagens even more powerful. So maybe that's gonna somehow play in, I don't know, but still we have to wait and see to what's gonna be like that. So the third one that's come up with the Witcher problems are the articles. I've seen so far two articles that been popping out most of around the YouTube videos, especially, are the one from The Dark Place and Rock Paper Shotgun that are saying that CDPR claims that they want Siri to tackle the sexism in Witcher world. Now, I don't know about the other YouTube creators out there or how much they actually read the whole article, but I was actually checking out both of these sites, and the questions that the outlet proposed to the developer Weber, I believe his name was, were kind of a little bit weird. Like, let me check, for example. Here it is. So, CDPR claims The Witcher 4 will tackle women's struggle in a medieval world. Now, I read the article and they didn't specifically said that's gonna like be the main thing that the article wholly suggests. It's a little bit worded a little bit more different. The Witcher 4 directors claim that using Ciri as their main protagonist will allow the team explore specific struggles of a female monster hunter in medieval fantasy. Okay, but in medieval sexism is something anyone was asking for in a fantasy RPG headed for 2025. I'm not sure how to understand that question in particular. Did anybody ask? It's not much of a did anybody ask, it's much more of a it's gonna be there anyways. We know that what kind of a world is the Witcher universe in video games. Ever since I played the first 3 games, I've experienced those kinds of storylines. I've seen the NPCs, their stories, their reactions towards different races, different sexes, be they female, male, witchers, mutants, non-humans, monsters even, like succubi, or the little spirits, like, what is his name, Timmy, the forest dweller, things like that. Yeah, they were quite different, and they explored all sorts of social issues that the Witcher universe had, like the racism towards non-humans and how like human settlements would engage in like massacres and like purges just because there were some other issues. Like in Witcher 2, when you played Flotsam Mission, there was a huge riot because the corrupt town sheriff usurped a bunch of money, and there were a lot of problems with the local Scoia'tael, and it all brewed up in like this huge ass riot. And instead of like tackling this one specific issue, the local populace just thought, you know what, we're gonna turn on against our neighbors, the non-humans, the dwarves and the elves, just because we needed an outlet for our rage. And that was a very interesting like kind of storyline there. The same with the sorceresses in Loch Muin. The brutality against them after the mages were purged and murdered pretty much by the knights and the Radianians. It was very brutal, but still good storytelling there as well. Same with Witcher 3, with different kinds of NPCs and characters. There were different cultures that showed how different sexes and races are treated. In Skellige, it's more like a might makes right kind of society, where the strong survive and thrive, and it doesn't matter what's your gender. If you're strong enough, then you are respected, and that's pretty much how it goes. In Nilfgaard, it's more like meritocracy. You're only as useful as long as you contribute to the empire. So that's interesting as well. What else do we have? Let's see. Something that... Yeah, so that's that. Ever since CD Projekt Red announced Ciri would start in Witcher 4, there have been questions and concerns raised. Yes, there have been, but I think most of them are just kind of blown out of proportion most of the time. I understand the concerns about like people saying, oh, this is just gonna turn into another woke slop like DA Velgard, Dustborn, or what was the other game, Forspoken, and things like that, because they're just bringing like female main character just for the sake because she is a female. But I mean, it can work. It's a kind of a double-edged sword, I suppose, but we won't know until we see what's what. Others are asking thoughtful questions about lore and whether Ciri's abilities and background even fit the concept. That's also fair, but again, this is a completely new title, Witcher 4, completely different from the books and the lore, so if they're gonna change something there, they have to do it in a very meaningful way, so it makes sense and it doesn't really kind of, overlap with the past lore choices and things like that. But what's most catching about the attention is how developer CD Projekt Red seemingly confirmed they plan to use Ciri's storyline. Okay, that line is very bit misleading. Confirmed they plan to use Ciri's to sex and gender politics. So here's the question that the outlet asked. In a way, even though Ciri is of course a defined character, with her players will have an opportunity to define a bit more. So yeah, that was also... We know that in past Witcher games, Geralt was pretty much a straight line character. We couldn't really influence his like personality. He was very like neutral Witcher, pretty much from the get-go. He had like his specific outlook on life. Like he viewed the world in a very kind of white and black and almost grayish, worldview. But here in this article, they said the developers want to make Ciri more of a blank slate, where we can influence her character with the choices and like the gameplay choices and things like that. And I think that's totally fine and okay. I like that sort of stuff. And the outlet asked, the experience of a woman is actively quite significant theme in Witcher in a lot of different forms. Women of this world are subjected to a lot of violence. They're heavily sexualized in different ways. There's the kind of a deal with the devil that sorcerers have to make where they lose fertility and so on. Watching the trailer, it seemed to maybe channel this. there's a Ciri, a woman trying and failing to save another woman from more of this universe's violence. That's confusing question. I thought she was just trying to save a girl from a monster and from the villagers from, sacrificing her for self. I don't really understand how gender plays this inside a cinematic trailer that they are asking about. It's very weirdly worded, but okay. And also, is it something you're intentionally looking to explore in the game? The experience of a woman, and particularly through Ciri's island world? Well, yeah, it would be interesting to see, because she's not only gonna be like a sorceress, a mutant, and a woman, but yeah, we already know how the world, in the Witcher world, treated Geralt, because he's like a mutant, an outsider, an outcast, and it wasn't that bad, but there were moments where it's like, can I just chop this guy's head off? So it's gonna be interesting to see they play out. I remember another game, Rome Expeditions, where you chose to play a Roman character between male and female in like a Roman society that's pretty much patriarchal. If you choose to play a male character, it's pretty much get-go, characters treat you with respect and dignity and things like that. But if you choose to play as a woman in a Roman society, the quests, the characters, the whole gameplay completely changed, and how they treat you narrative-wise. So it was very interesting for me to see that as I played the game. So I would suggest, if you haven't played the game, check out the videos, or maybe get the game yourself. Rome Expeditions. So it was very interesting. So let's see how this one plays out. And Weber replied, I mean, I would say the world of Witcher is a really dark one. Yes, it is pretty dark one. Inspired by, of course, dark fantasy, folklore, yes, but also medieval to early Renaissance history. That is a world that was tough, though for many different groups, women among them. As an example, in The Witcher we also deal with racism when it comes to non-humans, yes, elves, dwarves, and all the other. And this is something that we want to keep up in Witcher 4. Well, yeah, just like in the previous games. If they want to keep the same storyline, same character developments and things like that, that's totally fine. I don't see the problem in it. They made the stories and characters really great about that sort of stuff in the previous games, so if they want to keep it up, go for it. I think it's something that's always been really important, right? We made games for adults, yeah. And it also means we tackle some difficult topics. Sure, we tackle them in interesting ways, we tackle them without giving easy answers, but often opening difficult questions that players have to answer. I mean, sort of. They're not really that difficult, but sure, why not? And I think some of those questions might be going in this direction as well, because yes, Ciri is a woman, and as a Witcher in this world, this is an unusual state, right? So I don't think it's going to be this story everywhere, but since this is a part of this world and we want to tackle so many of those different themes, so it's not just one, we want to tackle so many of those different. So it's not just that, they want to tackle different kind of themes. So again, very weirdly worded article title. It's definitely also going to appear there as well. Okay, so what's the issue that people are having again? They're pretty much confirming what they did in the past, and they're gonna do the same thing here as well. So, okay. Well, if they can pull off the story just the same as they did in the previous games, then go for it. That's fine. But yeah, these articles that have been coming out lately, they are kind of concentrating on one theme, putting in the title, and when it comes to the actual developers answering the questions, it's completely different. Like Weber says, they want to tackle different kinds of things. It's not going to be like in the forefront, it's just going to be one of the other themes. But yeah, it's going to be there. It's not like they want to, yeah, we want to smash the patriarchy with the Syrian on top of it. So, yeah, you guys have to be really careful about like the videos that nowadays come out with these kinds of different titles and these articles, because the titles and the actual context really does matter. So yeah, that's very interesting to see. So that's the article issues. We gone through the books, Ciri as the Witcher, and the whole story, how that's gonna work out. The articles, what else do we have? The latest thing was the Twitter drama about particularly one single developer, Cian Maher, I believe his name was, who made kinda controversial tweets in the past before he worked on in CDPR. I think he made those tweets around when he was 19 or so. So, I mean, I made stupid tweets, and I still do, made stupid tweets and comments to this day, but yeah, it's kind of weird for CDPR to not to properly vet these kinds of peoples when they hire them to like check out their past socials and things what they say, and then just hire them. It's kind of weird, but maybe it's just one of those things that slid through the cracks. But yeah, people have been dogpiling on this one particular guy and using him like how would you say, almost like a martyr, I suppose, for their like for their crusade against the woke and things like that, saying that CDPR wants to kill players or punch people in the face, and is just one dumb kid making stupid comments in the past. He should not have made those Twitter posts, obviously, but it's still kind of weird for CDPR to hire somebody without properly checking like his socials and like his past. Like right now his Twitter is completely dead silent. He hasn't posted anything for like the past few weeks or so. So maybe they're gonna deal with him like internally, but so far it's like whatever. I'm not sure why would somebody even like join a game company with making such interesting comments, you know, bashing players and bashing video games in the past, saying these kinds of comments. But maybe his outlook has changed, I'm not sure. We'll see how it is. I mean, I know that my outlook has also changed a lot these past few months as well, because I kind of stopped, you know, jumping the trend wagon of like judging the game just because there's like a trailer or the picture or something that implies that it's gonna be trash. I'm always now kind of a guy that waits for the actual game to come out and then judge it properly and then decide to whether to buy it or not, because doing this kind of a trend is not doing anybody favors. You're just doing the same awful thing as the woke Twitter crowd, as they would say. I mean, right now there's no real difference between the right and the left side, so it's very weird. I'm just gonna stay in the middle, neutral, like a Witcher. So yeah, that's interesting. So that's Cian Maher. People, yeah, been just making a bunch of videos like exposing him, using him as like this, yeah, example that all of CDPR is apparently bad, even though it's just one guy. I don't really, that's kind of fair to judge the whole you know, the whole company, all the people as the same, with some like violent mob who wants violence just because of one guy making stupid tweets. But you know, whatever. So then that's one issue off the list. Or what else? Now there is another issue that's been coming up lately, about developers themselves. A lot of developers been leaving and making their own studios, and people are saying, oh, CDPR is dying because look how so many veterans are leaving the game, this is gonna turn into a trash. But then I thought to myself, well, during Witcher 1 and Witcher 2 many developers also left, and there was like a whole, you know, like cycle of changing developers, and still Witcher 3 turned out fine. They left during Witcher 3 and made Cyberpunk. That turned out well, not during the beginning, but yeah. But still, Cyberpunk is a good game, even though it had like a shitty launch that should have never happened at all. I don't blame the developers. I just mostly blame like the upper management. They should not have done that at all. And I still don't give them like a free pass about that. I'm just holding them to a like higher standard. But yeah, it was same with like Witcher 3 as well. It had like a shitty launch, but still the game turned out well. So yeah, the developers leaving, new developers joining in. We don't know much about these new developers that are coming in, but people are already saying it's gonna turn out trash. But I mean, how do we know for sure? Actions speak louder than words, to be honest. So yeah, and they are also saying a lot of these developers, veteran developers that are leaving, are making their own companies and their own studios, and that's good, that's great. If they are doing that and making new games, then kudos for them. But saying also things like, oh, they're gonna save the industry because these new veterans are making their own video games, and they're gonna show the chuds, the woke clowns, how it's done, they're gonna save the gaming industry, is kind of a weird thing to say, because I've seen plenty of like new studios made by like ex-veteran devs here and there, like for instance The Gourd, that was the video game The Gourd that was made by Witcher veterans as well, the devs, and the game didn't turn out so quite well. Stormgate is another one, game that was made by ex-Blizzard devs. It also sits at mostly negative reviews, even though it's like in early access and you can get it for free, but still the reviews are not that quite good. So yeah, that's kind of interesting as well to see. So we really shouldn't call out these things, even though they're saying, oh, but Rick, the patterns, you don't see the patterns, and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I don't really care about patterns. You can have patterns, but in the end product is what really means. The patterns can, you know, kiss my ass for all I care. Sometimes even games that have like weird design or weird characters turn out quite well as well. For instance, Returnal was one game. The character design for the character was a bit weird. Like the female character looked very iffy, but the game itself was pretty much great. Same with Horizon Forbidden West. Alloy design was completely awful, like the Nico Godov face look. It was just funniest shit I've ever seen. But the game itself was technically pretty great. The storytelling and in some places there was very weird. I wanted to buy the game, but to be honest, I kind of gave up because the exclusive deals were kind of meh. I also wanted to buy Stellar Blade. The game looks, you know, pretty much fun and great, and characters also look awesome, but I don't think I'm gonna buy it because I just don't have the patience to wait for like the exclusive games to come to PC, because by then it's just like, you know, Magic is pretty much gone. Maybe one day, but for now it's like whatever. So yeah, that's the developers leaving. I'm pretty sure we covered it all up then. I think so. But yeah, that's pretty much all the points that I wanted to cover with this game so far. Overall, are there genuine concerns about how The Witcher 4 is going forward? Yes, they are. There definitely are some concerns here and there. Could it be overblown? For most part, it seems a little bit silly and overblown, like most of these topics, because there just isn't enough info for us to like judge the game and say that it's gonna turn out trash and things like that. I understand, like in the past, companies have pretty much burned us like time and again with their AAA titles and things like that, but I don't think it's like for most of the part because of the woke. I think it's just mostly lazy writing shitty graphics, boring gameplay, and just overall boring games, and that's pretty much it. They're just, for instance, Ubisoft's Skull and Bones, I think it was called, right? That pirate game. I mean, so much for a quadruple A game. It just turned out to be a overpriced, over-monetized slop. Was it woke? Not really. Just shitty, boring game. That's it. So that's my opinion, pretty much, on Witcher 4. I don't think it's trash. I think I just don't have enough info for me to judge yet. I think the trailer that came out was fine. Ciri looked fine. But hey, that's just my opinion. And you know what? I'm a woke clown, as some would probably say. So my opinion doesn't matter. But it is what it is. I mean, yeah, I think the whole situation is a bit blown out of the proportions. And I think we just have to wait and see more info. But CDPR has to like really now are like really walking on eggshells right now, and they have to do a little bit of an internal management when it comes to like social posts and their developers talking. So they have to like rein them in a little bit, perhaps. They could also, you know, do more community outreach, sort of like assuade or fears, maybe, or concerns, to engage more of like how would you say, engage more with the community, so to speak. Like try to like not convince us, but to tell us, look, it's gonna be fine, we're gonna make the game, it's gonna be great, you don't have to trust us, but we want you to give us the benefit of the doubt and judge us by our final product. And if that final product comes out great, then great. If not, well, there are plenty of enough games in 2025 that are gonna come out and they're gonna be great, awesome, or they're not gonna be. All it takes is just time and patience. But yes, that's gonna be it for my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If not, then not. Leave a comment, like down below, whatever. Share, subscribe, all that shebang. And I'll see you guys on the next video. And I'll try to make maybe another game review video, my attempt at least on it, and a new recipe as well. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Bye.